Hello, my name is Robert Wallace. I am the principal of Jackson Middle School in Grand Prairie, Texas. I would like to introduce our amazing team. Victoria Collins, Dean of Instruction, Jill Davis, Assistant Principal, Courtney Lee, Academic Facilitator, and Dorothy Weiss, Academic Facilitator. When our journey started 2 years ago, we were not really sure of what our end goal would be. We were given incredible tools to work on our problem of practice, which would help steer us through this entire process. Using these tools, we were able to identify that there was an achievement gap between our EL and non-EL students. Closing this gap would place us on a continuous journey for improvement. Our goal was to close this gap by May 2020. This journey would involve many tasks, goals, and milestones. We began by learning about growth mindset and observing Central Market with their strong customer service and their values-oriented mission. This inspired us to look inward and form a vision committee to design a vision and mission for Jackson. Jackson's vision statement became, "We are a learning community committed to the social, emotional, and academic growth of the whole child." It also helped us to identify just what our values were. This in turn prompted us to revisit many processes for improvement. We learned that we needed to communicate more with our staff. We formed teacher and student focus groups. This helped us to realize that we needed more training for our teachers to support our EL students. We started to provide this training by bringing in staff development from our district. Teachers were SIOP trained to help provide strategies to improve comprehension for our EL students. We placed a bigger emphasis on vocabulary and added intentional strategies to the lesson plans targeting support for our EL students. We know that we were making progress this year leading up to STAR, even though we were not able to test at the end of the year and measure our data to see if we had met our goal. We still were able to see growth through the first 3 quarters. Our goal for this year is to keep striving to close that gap. We know that we still have a lot of work to do, and improvement is a continuous process. Passing the baton. Go team. Collins!
Thank you, Mr. Wallace. Act 1, the beginning. After going through the 5 whys process with our department leaders, our admin team, sending a campus survey, meeting with our focus group, and analyzing state data, we were at a loss and we really struggled to narrow down our focus. We eventually realized that the lack of cohesiveness led to an inconsistent campus processes, a lack of communication, and low campus morale and low student growth and achievement. Our POP is important because we're in the business of growing kids, but our overall student population was not achieving or growing academically. At Jackson, we had unhappy teachers and an administrative team that wasn't cohesive. We felt that our teachers and administrative team were in need of tools to improve relationships, instruction for students, and to meet and support and coach teachers to meet the needs of all students and improve instruction and student growth. Bottom line, when teachers are happy at work, it will reflect in their classroom. Improved student achievement equals more student growth. The exciting event that caught our CLP and staff attention was the F that we received in growth on our 2018-2019 state report card. With the help of the teacher focus group, admin team, and other staff members, year 1, we really focused on creating a vision and mission statement, improving communication, and refining campus processes such as our discipline plan and our hiring process. We really wanted to make sure we were ahead of process to identify the best fit for Jackson. Year 2, we focused on building relationships amongst the administrative team and staff and growing every student a minimum of 1 year's growth by providing PD that's aligned to our Campus STAR goals for each subpopulation.
Thanks, Collins. When it came to the middle of our POP journey, we learned that getting others involved in our problem of practice came pretty easily, especially when we gave our staff and teachers a goal to work towards in order to help our EL students close that achievement gap. We had some really big turning points, which include implementing a teacher focus group, bringing in Kagan strategies, and our ESL department to help us teach these teachers some strategies to use in their classrooms to help us with our goal. And we also really loved the Arlington Holdsworth workday. It really allowed us to see a clearer picture of how we were going to implement these goals and strategies and tactics, and really just help us bring the whole picture together. In order to solve the problem, we had to get teachers to understand the importance of our EL students and how they impact our state data. So we showed them, as you can see here, this comes from our district report card from the state. We showed them that our ELP status gave us 0 points. So it really showed them the need that these kids have and that we have to teach these kids in order to improve our report card score. We also had a lot of data along the way, checkpoints. We sent out a teacher survey about climate, and throughout those survey results, we saw that teachers thought we were doing a better job at communicating and reaching our goal. And we also saw in our 3, 6, and 9-week test data that our EL students were making positive strides, especially in our ESL classes. We learned a lot from our failures and mistakes, but most importantly that the work has to continue. This is a continuous process. We have to keep it going. We were definitely unaware of the level of frustration that our teachers were feeling on campus and how that really bled into their classrooms and how you teach. Because if you're happy with how you work or where you work, you're going to be happier in your classroom with your kids. Throughout this experience, we were taught tons of valuable leadership skills, and it really helped us to improve our environment at school and put our EL students first while giving our teachers strategies in order to do that in their classroom.
Thanks, Ms. Lee. Act 3, the end. What growth, most important takeaways did we learn as a CLP team? Well, we decided on 3. Number 1. It takes a team to make systematic change on a campus. 1 or 2 people can't make the changes themselves, even as much as they want to. Everyone has to be on board and have the same goals and objectives for the change. Number 2, we learned that change takes time, and it's important that we all are reminded of that often and that small successes are celebrated. It is impossible to make changes if you are not consistently paying attention to the goals and making sure that you are achieving small goals along the way. Number 3, a big opportunity that we were handed from the Holdsworth was being taught and guided on being able to think outside the box, processing what the needs are, and focusing on the needs of our staff and students. How have the students been positively impacted by our problem of practice? Well, overall, focusing and pinpointing on very specific needs of our students. First, we have focused on the huge academic gaps we had between our EL students and the rest of our population. We streamlined our data talks with teachers and focused on the highest needs area and made it very clear to the teachers what our goals are, where we currently were, and how much further we needed them to get. We would break the data down into how many specific students we needed in order to hit our goals and would ask the teachers to identify specific students within their class that fit that criteria, and those would be their focus students for the quarter to reach the specific goals. Number 2, we were able to design training and acquire resources for teachers that met the district needs of our students. We brought in biweekly trainings from our EL department and were able to focus on content-specific techniques for each core contents. We also provided Elevation resource, which tracks our EL students on their growth specifically for language acquisition. Elevation also provides specific resources for individual students to meet them where they currently are. Lastly, we brought in Kagan Training and resources for all students and teachers. Third, the student incentives really improve students' morale and encourage students to work hard. How are we different as individuals and a team and a campus? We are stronger as individuals and more confident as educators and professionals. Our minds and eyes have been open to so much more of what education is and how much larger role we have the opportunity to play. As a team, we are able to communicate better. As a campus, it has made us streamline our focus and challenge the status quo. How will you tackle future improvement efforts on your campus? We know that we were too broad with our Kagan training, and we plan to narrow our approach in the upcoming school year. We as a team are focusing on finding a way to get buy-in from all the admin team and staff in the building and create an environment of accountability. And third, we are going to identify struggling EL students in August and create an intervention and tracking plan for the entire year.
Davis, go long! Just kidding.
Thank you, Wheezy. What an amazing adventure we've had with Holdsworth. We've not only identified our problem of practice, but had the chance to really dig into the root of several issues across our campus. As we discovered the interconnectedness of each along the way, it was apparent that once we achieved success with one, it would only require minimal effort and energy to tackle the next. The easiest thing we can control each and every day is our morale. That's exactly what we will continue to do. Our campus vision and mission statements provide us clear objectives for execution. Just as we've seen success with our EL students, we've seen an opportunity for additional growth in admin cohesiveness, teacher and student morale through incentives, special programs, and events. At Jackson Middle School, we are grateful for the opportunity to identify our problem of practice, to take the journey and create change. Happy teachers equal improved classroom teaching, which equals intentional instruction that leads to improved student achievement, and finally, more student growth. Thank you for helping us become better educational leaders.